A judge says the University of Wyoming can't ban a Laramie church elder from the student union. The city of Cheyenne considers a ban on single-use plastic bags. And columnist Bill Sniffen takes readers along on his basin-to-basin road trip. Bringing you these stories and more from Wyoming's largest news organization, I'm Wendy Core for Cowboy State Daily. A judge on Friday blocked a year-long ban on a Laramie church elder who called out a transgender student in the University of Wyoming Student Union. U.S. Senior District Court Judge Nancy Friedenthal temporarily enjoined the university's actions, meaning that UW cannot censor Todd Schmidt's viewpoint on the gender issues or any other protected speech, and they cannot enforce their tabling ban on Schmidt for a year. That's according to Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland.
Friedenthal basically said it does not meet the high legal bar for harassment. Harassment needs to be something pervasive, something that's causing a change in your workplace conditions or your school conditions, a hostile environment. And Friedenthal went on to say that Schmidt suffered viewpoint discrimination. That is, people who may have been in the union saying, that's not so, Artemis Langford is a woman. That person calling Langford out by name, engaging on the issue, the evidence indicates those types of people were not censored while Schmidt was, which led Friedenthal to that conclusion.
The order blocks UW's censorship and its ban on Schmidt having a table at the student union throughout the case or until a future order reverses it. Many Cheyenne residents are angry over a city councilman's proposal to ban single-use plastic bags and to charge customers for paper bags. Under the ordinance proposed by Council President Richard Johnson, retail establishments would only be allowed to provide reusable paper grocery bags and cardboard boxes, and businesses would need to charge customers a 10-cent fee for each paper grocery bag used. Cowboy State Daily's Leo Wolfson spoke with Johnson about his proposal.
And he says the council is pretty split on it, so he thinks it has a somewhat reasonable chance that it could pass through. It still has a long way to go. It was only introduced earlier this week, and it got sent over to their finance committee. But this has been considered in other Wyoming communities before. Green River gave a little bit of consideration to this, and the town of Jackson did pass a plastic ban ordinance as well.
Johnson said stores like Natural Grocers and Sam's Club have already stopped offering plastic bags. Winter kill and disease cut a ghastly swath through antelope herds in some of Wyoming's prime hunting areas, which has prompted some hunters to say they're skipping this season. The massive winter kill prompted Wyoming Game and Fish to cut thousands of hunting tags, and Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines said some regular hunters say they'll forego this season to help decimated herds recover.
There are quite a few hunters, including two that I spoke with, that are just not going to hunt antelope this year. I personally am not going to hunt antelope this year, and then I talked to a couple other hunters who said the same thing. And one guy even said, he was willing to buy a tag and just throw the tag away and not hunt antelope. I mean, that way he's at least giving some money to the Game and Fish to fund conservation.
Hines said, though, that antelope pulled through the winter fairly well in other parts of the Cowboy State. The Wyoming Game and Fish Department says there's still ample hunting opportunity as some antelope archery seasons open this week. I'll be back with more news right after this.
At Hilltop Bank, we understand that buying a home is a big decision. That's why we're here to be your trusted partner on the path to home ownership. Our experienced mortgage team will guide you every step of the way, from pre-approval to closing. We offer competitive rates and a wide variety of home loan options to best suit your needs. With our local knowledge and personalized service, you'll feel confident and comfortable throughout the entire home buying process. Contact us today to start your journey toward home ownership. Hilltop Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
A Rock Springs High School student whose transgender identity sparked a parental rights lawsuit is no longer enrolled in that district. Sean and Ashley Willie sued Sweetwater County School District 1 in April, alleging that district staffers were calling their daughter by a male name and pronouns behind their backs against her therapist's recommendations and her best interests. But Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that the student has recently transferred out of the district.
The district is saying that the high school student, that the family's daughter, has transferred to a different school in New Mexico. I couldn't get the Wiley's family attorney to confirm that on Friday. However, the district is arguing that that should moot the parts of the case that revolve around parental autonomy. We will see what the judge says.
The student's transfer negates roughly half of Sean and Ashley Willie's allegations against Sweetwater County School District Number 1, the district alleges. And since the Willie's daughter is no longer enrolled, they've filed a motion to dismiss their complaint in the U.S. District Court for Wyoming. And Cowboy State Daily columnist Bill Sniffen just returned from what he's named his Basin-to-basin Wyoming road trip.
Wendy, this is another Bill Sniffen road trip. As our readers know, I love to travel Wyoming, and this one I went from basin to basin to basin. I traveled from the Wind River Basin to the Bighorn Basin to the Powder River Basin. Meanwhile, I was in Thunder Basin National Grassland. It's hard to deal with all the traffic, but that's a good sign. It shows a lot of tourists are visiting Wyoming. About 8 million people visit Wyoming every summer, and boy, they're visiting it right now. Living in Lander, we're in the heart of the Wind River Basin, which is named after the Wind River. And then, of course, you cross Wind River Canyon and you come out with the Bighorn Basin, named after the Bighorn River. And voila, it's the same river. It just has two different names. And from there, you go east over Tin Sleep Pass, and you end up in the Powder River Basin. And again, you can't have a basin if you didn't have the Bighorn Mountains. So it's just a wonderful thing about Wyoming. We truly are the Basin State.
And that's this weekend's news. You can read about all of these stories and more on CowboyStateDaily.com, Wyoming's largest and most read news source. Sign up today for our free daily newsletter and get unlimited access to unrivaled coverage of what's going on in the Cowboy State. I'm Wendy Core for Cowboy State Daily.